Yo, what's up, guys? Let's talk about a serious topic today. The serious topic is why a majority of men and women are so freaking miserable. And I know it's true. Um, Depression's on the rise, like all this therapy stuff, and if you do it, like, oh, you'll be happy. And let's just have an honest uh, conversation, or I'll give you my monologue, but I'm just going to tell you guys exactly the truth of why men and women are extremely unhappy today. So let's think about this. All right. Let's just start off. This is a response to something somebody wrote on Substack, and I kind of wrote a little response. And they were talking about, to give you an overview of, women being very unpleasant and the unpleasantness of women in general, like just how standoffish and unpleasant they are. All right, so check it out. Let's begin. The unpleasantness in women at this moment in time, and primarily the West, like it affects our countries. That means all those countries that are addicted to social media and all the women that are on Instagram has in part created this unpleasant combativeness towards men. Because some of this unpleasantness is also directed at men, right? Well, I won't go off on a tangent right now. I'll just read what I wrote and we'll talk about it as we go along. All right. So it stems from an unpleasantness in women interiorly, right? This unpleasantness is not actually truly directed at dudes. It's directed at themselves. So they're unpleasant because their internal composition is unpleasant. Why wouldn't it be if you're on Instagram all day? You're going to feel very unpleasant if you're a woman. All right, so check this out. The interior disposition matches the exterior disposition and is fueled by Instagram and popular reality shows and female feminist commentators. Can you blame them? The modern feminist lacks all femaleness, like they're divorced from their nature. So if you're at war with your own self and you're at war with your nature, you're probably going to be pretty unhappy and pretty miserable. So this ideology has reduced the female into a utility, basically a broken man without her own dignity, and is told things like career and casual sex and products and a cultivated online presence and therapy will make her feel happy. I say broken man since men who act like this have no control over their lust and are thus broken and slaves to desire. So you see it works both ways. Broken men, broken women, it's just broken. If you're a slave to your base desires, it's pretty gross. You get broken, it breaks your mind, breaks your body. The interior matches the exterior, and everyone's unhappy, and everybody around you unhappy. You just make everyone miserable, including yourself. All right, and for women, when this falls off, they go on to therapy and antidepressants. And now it's kind of kicking up with men too, with all these therapy commercials that I'm constantly seeing about finding a therapist and antidepressants. And if you do these things and you numb out the pain, you don't deal with it, you'll be happy. You think that's the case? You think putting a band-aid over a decapitated head is going to help you? No, that's not going to help at all. Like, don't be a moron. You got to deal with the interior composition of yourself. However, this is not just young women in this boat, but middle-aged, married women, and that whole women in the middle class with the 2.5 children and the great big homes in the suburbs, and like everything looks good. They too are in the stew, so to speak, of our culture that is in free fall. Next. Additionally, the high standard held by the New Age women is due to casual sex. So, like the high standards of like women thinking that they're going to get more handsome men and thinking like, hey, I'm 34, like, I look like this, I look like that, we'll talk about that. But the type of women. Additionally, the high standard held by the New Age women is due to casual sex. They're holding extreme high standards. Like, I expect my man to be 6'2" or 6'4" and make, $200,000 a year and drive this car and blah, take me out to these fancy restaurants. Like, that's due to casual sex, and it's also due to the media. All right. And here's why this is a problem and a guy's problem. So many men will hook up with almost any single girl. This includes most men and most girls. That man would never, he would, like these women that these men are hooking up with, he would never be seen in public with. And that's the truth, because the nature of a man is different from the nature of a woman. They would never be seen in public with, let alone think about dating or marrying or having children with or mixing genes with. No way. Women are very different in this regards, and typically will not sleep with men that would stand no chance with them ever. You see this a lot. A very beautiful woman does not sleep with terrible, hideous men ever. It just doesn't. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. But in the same instance, a very good-looking guy at the end of the night with a couple drinks will. Okay, that's where the difference is. Like, a guy will do a gross behavior where the woman won't do it. Like, she'll only like go up from how good looking she is, and he typically will go down. And it doesn't matter how low he goes for the most part, because it's all about a utility for him. Okay, many of the best good looking guys have hooked up with countless undesirable women. Let me just scroll down. In the case of women who sleep with men like this, women who sleep with men that are either at their standard or higher. Okay? Now, women, because they'll have like a good looking hookup buddy or whatever you want to call it, one night stands, they've seen this guy that's attractive and successful, and they have this standard of having this hookup buddy. That changes their perception of the outlook of the world. So in her mind, why would she ever settle for anyone else? Because she's already gotten, a 9 and, she's a 4. Okay? She's gotten a 9 guy scale, but she's really a 4. And she's had a 9 kind of, hookup friend or whatever, or an 8 hookup friend, and she's a 3. Why would she ever think that she's always going to think she can get that. But it's not true. And that skews everything. So here's how it really gets twisted and skews the whole problem. Bottom-dwelling men sink further into their own sexlessness, marriagelessness, and depression. So when you don't have women that are, 4s dating guys that are 4s, and 8s dating guys that are 8s, et cetera, or dating up, whatever, for the gals. This class of men ends up getting all of the women and using all of the women, and then that makes all of the guys that are, 4s and 5s and 6s and 7s completely alone. They have no use anymore, because only the 8, 9s, and 10s on the guy charts are kind of getting everything. They don't want to marry everything, but they're getting everything. They get all of it, the whole thing. And all those guys that are lesser that normally would have gotten married to a 4 and a 4 getting married, or a 4 and a 5 getting married, no one's getting married. The girls aren't getting married. They think they're a 4. They think they can get an 8 or a 9 because they did in the past. Because casual sex has ruined just about everything. Why would she ever think that she can go any lower or have to date kind of right around her where she is? So then you get a whole bunch of bottom-dwelling men that are sink further into sexlessness, marriagelessness, and depression. She thinks from past experience that she can get any guy and any good-looking, semi-successful man. So the unrealistic standards are created. This equals unhappy women and unhappy men. Okay? It works on both sides of the house. Everyone in that group is unhappy. All right, now here is the kicker that is the crazy part of this video. Here's the kicker and the truth for all eyes and all ears to hear. For this to be fixed, it will be men that have to fix it. Since men, especially good-looking ones, are the weird benefactors of this free sex, casual sex society. To put a stop to the unpleasant women, men need to be chaste. Men need to be the choosy ones, who you're going to pass your genes on to and who you're going to get married to. You need to start being the choosy ones. All men. This is not only accomplished by Christian norms, even more shocking to the readers and who is listening to this video, Catholic norms that make sex between a husband and a wife for unitive procreation and not only just pleasure, right? You want to be with or have the potential to create human life with the person that you are with. All right, so check this out. The moral component, that's the big part of this. The last religion that keeps it this way that I know of, a holy, chaste marriage, and being chaste and not fornicating outside of marriage, with sex under control and not using things to block pregnancy. So you always have that essence of like, this is the person I want to be with, the giver and the receiver, is the Catholics, right? The Catholics are still the oddballs out, like not using contraceptives and all that other stuff. But what it does mentally when you're with somebody and you're not using these things, it means every single time is going to be unitive, and every single time there's a giving and a receiving of something, like a true giving and a receiving of something. All right. Now for women, men need to reevaluate the women and bring back dignity that is not currently in our society. And you have to stop viewing sex as utility. It's going to be men that have to stop viewing sex as a utility. Again, the Catholic religion is the only religion that elevates women's dignity, is the Catholic Church. We're the last one that elevates the dignity of a woman and the unitive aspect of sex. All right. Now, I just want to say in closing, it is not going to be the state that can do this work. It's not going to be laws. It's not going to be, oh, if the divorce laws are better. Oh, if this happened. Oh, la, 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 la. You know, I got that way in the first place because sex started becoming very casual and cheap. When sex is cheap and religion is optional, then nothing really makes sense anymore. So the laws changed. So in order to change the laws again to make everything back to normal, it's going to be men that have to do this. So this is not going to be an easy fix. It's going to take one at a time of men basically not participating within this poor behavior, not accepting this poor behavior, shaming other men that participate in this poor behavior of hookup culture. One by one, and in just a few decades, things are going to be very different. Because if you reject free sex, the men start rejecting free sex and being chaste themselves and expecting their wives to be chaste, everything will follow suit. You see how that works? All right, that's the end of my long video on how to fix stuff over a couple decades. Out.